up a seat to the bar and join us for another episode of McAnally's Pubcast, a podcast exploring the fun and fantastical mind of Jim Butcher's The Dresden Files series. Hosts Tansen, Jess, and Maggie bring you another round of literary analysis on this immense, immersive, and colorful environment inhabited by Harry Dresden, the world's only licensed private investigator and professional wizard. Join an active and engaged community of new and die-hard dedicated fans focused on the fabulous themes, theories, characters, context, lore, and more. This is McAnally's Dresden Files Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk. Welcome to the McAnally's Pubcast, brought to you by Free Flow Rambling. This is episode 13.12, Good Hunting, where we are covering the novel Deadbeat. My name is Tansen, and I'm joined by Maggie.
Hello, hello.
And Jess.
Huh? Thank you so much to our Patreon subscribers for your generous support. It's people like you who help us keep doing what we're doing. If you're not yet a Patreon subscriber, sign up today and get a fuck ton of bonus content, kick-ass merch, behind-the-scenes outtakes, and more. Sign up today at patreon.com/freeflowrambling.
Chapter 13. Dresden goes around town to check out the spots marked on the map. He stops first at Wacker, but doesn't find much beyond the feeling of the dark energy. Next, Harry checks out the Field Museum. He finds out that a Dr. Bartlesby was killed, and the energy is a different user than the others. Detective Rawlins finds him at the scene and helps out instead of detaining him.
Not a shower. Well, I guess we don't know. He didn't say he showered this morning. He just got dressed. But now he showered and dressed. Butters is still passed out, which, yeah, what the fuck, Harry? Why are you not? I mean, I get you've got shit going on, but it feels to me like you're not quite down to the wire yet. Sounds like for once in your life, you probably could have taken a couple hours to get some sleep, or more than just a couple hours. Take like 6 hours.
For once you actually had the time.
Right? Like, I get you're on a timeline. Halloween is coming up, but, right, you literally do not have the monsters breathing down your neck yet. Why don't you sleep on it a little more?
A good number of them don't know you yet. You've met two.
Right? Yeah, you're going out finding them. They haven't all come found you yet. You know, Gravane was totally by accident, Cowell.
Cowell's because you got the book. He was after the book, not you.
But not, right, but that's it. Other than that, right, yeah, these other 4 players that but no, he's gonna just sleep for like 2 hours after
He's already used to sleep deprivation.
No, but he also had this huge, we're talking about Thomas running on empty and everything like that. He had this huge fight with Cowell that, as we said, right, if the alphas had not stepped in when they stepped in, Harry was on his last legs. He was going down. That right there, and then you still ran around for you got a 20-minute nap in the car or whatever the fuck it took to drive to George's parents' place, But yeah, that's it. Then you went back in your car, and then you went and did this, and then you went and did this, and then you're going home, and then you had a dream, and then, right, I'm like, ugh, idiot. But whatever. He's fine. I'm just going to sleep for 2 hours. I'm going to go for a big jog that I finish with this sprint race. And now I'm just going to get back out there.
It's so funny. It's like the author won't beat me to death if I beat myself to death, right?
Yeah, right. He's like,
no, please, Mr. Butcher,
yeah.
I won't go to bed and you don't have to do anything to me.
Right? It's like having kids. It's like, I know if I try and go lay down, you're just, so you know what? Nope, I'm just going to power through. I'm just going to stay up. I'm not even going to try.
Oh, yeah, that's our experience. You resisting the temptation of bed.
When it's like, oh, we just got home and we have to leave for soccer right away, I'm like, hey, I guess I won't this one time. So Thomas settles down with this saber that he just picked up at a garage sale. I mean, estate sale, but, garage sale.
And then Harry gives him a sawed-off shotgun.
And leaves him with the sawed-off shotgun, within arm's reach, just in case.
And then now settles down between the door and Thomas. I'm like, holy shit, Butters, you're good.
Mm-hmm.
You're good.
Aside from all the Harry's already, nothing's getting through my wards. But
if they do, Temple Dog, Thomas, Saber, sawed-off shotgun.
You don't know. Yeah, we do know that. It's like, we don't know that, but yeah, that was the whole reason he got him. Was the monk sent him to go get him.
Temple Dog. Emphasis on the temple.
I'm just so
not
used
the dog.
to you blowing, everything 3 books ahead of it. Wait, just because talking, there's going to be a spoiler. Yes, so, well, good. And my buddy's still just like, I'll sleep.
So again, if I was Butters, every time I woke up, I'd be like, I'm going back to bed. If you don't need me, fuck this shit. I don't exist.
There is that, but I mean,
Maybe his dad's also talking to him in his dream.
If I'm asleep, I don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
as far as we know, his dad's still alive. So I don't know if that's better or worse if they're talking to you in your dreams when they're still on the side of the...
Pretty sure he's just his mom. He's only ever been mentioned.
Maybe.
I don't know.
He's never not mentioned it.
I'm just thinking it's like a Howard Wolowitz situation.
Yeah, right. Oh, I was going to say, I'm like, aside from the whole, like, just about getting killed and that being, like, scary and traumatizing, I'm like, other than that, though, he only had, like, half a night of work. Then they, like, went home. He got told, like, some nifty ghost stories, and then he, like, went home. So really, he's had a really easy night, and he's getting all the sleep. Meanwhile, Harry's the one that's... But whatever, trauma, I guess, So yeah, we had to go to Wacker, which I just love as a great name for... We should have a Wacker somewhere, and everyone should have a Wacker in there.
I saw some Discord about this at one point, and he was like, I finally found a spot on the sidewalk at Wacker, and like Chicagoans are like complaining it's like upper Wacker or lower Wacker. The distinction would matter if you were really from Chicago.
I was like, I don't know, I just had to go the whole thing until I found where this... Okay.
I remember seeing that a while back, and it was like, but which one? Because there's a huge difference, and if you lived here, you would know that. Harry doesn't give a fuck.
Well, I'm going to say whichever one is likely to have people getting shot on the sidewalk. Let's say it was that
Lower.
one. Which, see, that was going to be my, I'm like, no, that, wait, that's, I don't know, streetist? What do you think? You just assume that lower Wacker's the bad area.
Yeah,
we
it's
don't know
called
that.
Undertown.
But we don't know that. I mean,
I'm assuming lower Wacker means closer to sea level, means getting buried under Chicago, means Undertown.
And this is why Jessica does not own a town and name things.
I don't own a town and name things because there's like a reason that they differentiate between like street and ave and lane and court. And I don't want to learn all that shit.
Yeah, most of that's bullshit.
I thought it was for like fun, and no, they're like, no, it is only a court if it has the properties of a court. It's only a lane if it has the properties of a lane, and it's only a street if it's got the property of a street. I just thought like, we haven't used court yet. Let's use court.
Yes.
Cul-de-sac.
Cool, yeah, well, that one makes sense. I got that one.
Well, but now whereas cul-de-sac is a description of something, apparently a court and a mews and a... See, certain ones are more obvious if it's like key or mews or something where they are usually, or like gate, right? Those are those little like just 4-foot intersections between linking this to this, right? Oh, that's the link, right? But yes, I couldn't tell you what the...
Avenues and streets always run perpendicular to each other.
Yes, well, that obviously because that is how everywhere you go is named some degree of that.
But I didn't know it was like an everywhere.
So yeah, so apparently you can't park anywhere on Wacker. So Chicagoans, does it matter? Does this help identify upper or lower that there's no parking for the size of an SUV? So he has to spend a fortune to pay for a garage a few blocks away. And then yeah, he just starts meandering around. So I get to a point, and I don't know what map they were using, like to again what scale this is, but it is slightly funny. That, again, like, who knows how big this, like, he's just like, I just gotta start walking up and it wasn't like, oh, it's at this cross street, so I know it's this section of Wacker. I'm like, he's like, I'm gonna just start walking until I, yeah.
Well, the ghosts don't know how to read maps either.
Well, they knew enough to put it on Wacker,
went
I
off
guess.
maps,
But,
fact.
yeah, right, but I was like, is it just like...
Yeah, it's still a spot. It's not...
Well, that's the mean, right? We don't know
outline
what
of the whole
we
street.
don't know what scale this map is. So you're right. Like one spot could have encompassed the entire neighborhood, as opposed to a 2-block
Remember when they
section,
sent LED with Harry, like a little fairy thing? It's like Mort should have been like, all right, one of you ghosts, you're assigned to him.
but go with
Go with him.
LED. That was so cute. Huh.
Yeah, he does eventually find the spot and only senses it by almost walking totally through it. And he finds
Almost misses it. Yeah.
the energy familiar, dark, cold, and dizzying. But unlike Gravain's, it lacks a sense of corruption.
Yeah. So I get what he says. I think that does sort of make sense. I mean, it's like you can tell, like same thing, like, oh yeah, you don't all necessarily have like the exact same signature kind of a thing. It's like, oh, you can tell you guys all went to the same school, right? You were all taught math this way and you guys were all taught math this way or whatever. I think it kind of makes sense where it's like you can't identify like specifically to a precise point each one.
But what's
it's
strange is that Harry's in the midst, like he's saying, like there's traffic going by me. I'm getting in pedestrians' way. People are glaring at me. Cars are honking. Like this is a busy street. This isn't an alleyway that he's hiding in. This isn't some low-level green Candyman Cabaret, whatever the fuck that place.
Cabrini Green.
Cabrini Green.
I was like, I don't remember a lot of dark magic at Cabaret, but I don't know. I guess depends how
I
you
caught
feel
your
about Liza
Candyman
Minnelli.
part.
Yeah.
That was, that I'd forgotten that part. Okay,
Like,
yeah.
what-
I was lost.
But this isn't like not a typical spot to be
Well, he
performing
even says she's
nefarious
like
dark magic.
A half clean spot that could have been blood, could have just been spilled coffee.
But that's my point, is like, who's doing things on a busy street like this? Even if it's in the middle of the night, there's a big difference between, middle of downtown or middle of Cabrini Green, right? Like,
It's pretty ballsy.
it seems very ballsy. And like, what happened here if there were no witnesses? Because there's not a crime scene here. So there couldn't have been a body. There couldn't have been, sure, we've got a little bit of potential blood on the ground, but whatever happened here,
it's not
we didn't have a
roped off.
witness.
We don't have, exactly. He tries outside a drugstore, goes in, drugstore's like, I don't know, we were closed, don't know, right? Obviously, nobody else has been taught, like, and he kind of says it's not really the type of place, that anything else would. He's like, check the neighboring places, but it was a part of town where
Nothing's
not much is open
after.
after 6, right?
Yeah.
So it is almost more of like here, what would be like the downtown area, which
Exactly.
is really fucking annoying because people live downtown too, But no, thankfully I don't, because obviously that would really bother me. That shit closes so early for everything. No, it's just dollar stores are open till 9 o'clock. Keep your dollar store open till 9 o'clock. Can't close at 6 o'clock just because you're downtown.
Downtown one closes at 9. Tim Hortons closes at fucking 6 o'clock in downtown. It's bullshit. We're in fucking downtown.
Yeah.
You're a fucking Tim Hortons.
I understand that you're right. The core population that is here during the day is no longer here, but there are enough people living and again frequenting other things. There are the occasional, restaurant, and there's definitely like some clubs and stuff that you're right.
So
fucking
annoying.
Tim, right? You're like, if the one in the fucking neighborhood your Taco Time can like hide behind the counters because they have so little business, but they stay open. Fucking Tim Hortons can stay open.
Literally, it's so annoying.
You are going to get more business than that, even if you are downtown.
fucking hate downtown.
Yeah. Anyways,
So suffice it to say, Harry doesn't find much around Wacker Street beyond that little blip of energy.
yeah. So I don't know. I think it is interesting. I think it could very easily go either way because, like you say, even though it's not a super populated area after hours, that you're like, it still should be like, it's still just like you say, the middle of the street. It's not a back alley. I'm like, I can see to a certain degree, like using downtown as an example, large portions of it are, even the busy main streets are pretty fucking empty. So I was like, you know what?
Right, but
maybe you would or wouldn't notice something. Like, I don't know.
As we were discussing in that chapter with Mort, is like, it seems pretty ballsy or presumptive to say, 6
Presumptuous.
necromancers. For me, this would be more proof, no, not 6. Cowell fucking coughed over here. Gravane tripped and fell and hit his nose over here. There wasn't really big magic over here. Just one of the big players did some tiny little bullshit over here. Not their big, kill, fill, and possess him and go through, but they murdered a cat and...
I guess, and that is fair enough. He does say it is, but that's the thing. It was, I guess we don't know exactly the scale. It was just these were the ones that left most of a mark that the ghost picks up. Again, right? It doesn't mean there's not 50,000 other little dark spots all over Chicago. This just happens to be, right? So it could have been the smallest of all of the, fill scenarios. So just enough that it made the list, but not enough to really, rank up there with that one or whatever, right? Because the point is that in the middle of the day, even with it being diluted from dawn, with his wizard senses open, right, and he does almost pass it by, but he does just pick up on it. So, yeah, obviously there was enough of something. So, yeah, it's not as terrible and horrible and icky and gross as the other ones, but it's still the same flavor, just milder or whatever. Does not tell him a whole lot of anything, so he's got to move on. Can't find anybody that knows anything, can't see anything, can't tell enough. So decides on the Field Museum next.
So there seems to be a little bit more activity outside the Field Museum with an ambulance and a few police cars are already outside.
This is looking promising. All right, we got ambulances. Good.
Yes, death, murder, and destruction. Oh no, what happened?
And Harry doesn't like lawyers. Yeah.
No, he specifically said he doesn't like fairies. It's different.
I'm pretty sure he has cast some aspersions on lawyers before. So somebody had to defend him against Larry Fowler.
I guess so.
He
Fowler's
self-represents and they're like, oh no.
Harry just goes,
Your Honor, I'm a wizard. Arrested. Looney bin.
So we're going with temporary insanity, are we? All right.
No, that's what
No,
Larry
not
Fowler
temporary.
hired me to be.
Harry enters the museum and checks out the people there and notes Sue, the largest and most complete preserved skeleton of the Tyrannosaurus Rex ever. Clearly, they have never been to the Tyrell Museum.
Is ours more complete, though?
Well, no. Sue is the most real.
That's what I thought, yeah. We have, I think, a lot more.
A competitive collection, at least.
We do have.
But in and
one of the
this-
largest dinosaur collections.
Yes, but a full and complete Tyrannosaurus. But yes, by all means, come to the Badlands. It's fun. There's nothing like running around in the hoodoos.
There's a couple of beat cops that are doing the main cop jive.
Chatting it up with security.
Yeah, I do like that essentially security is all like, bitch, shit's important. Everyone has to get back to their job. And the cops are like, okay, bro. Literally someone died. in this
Excuse
place.
me, we're trying to run a business here. Like, we got paying customers. Can you guys get the fuck out?
It's so funny how media is always like, everyone just doesn't give a fuck. They're like, come on, we have to go. But like in real life, everyone's like, yeah, someone died. We're all going home. What the fuck? That's always in media that they're like, they will not understand that somebody died. They need to get back to their research. But in real life, everyone's like, woo, day off. This is awesome. Like,
Right.
oh, sucks that guy died. But I got laundry to do. See ya.
We had one guy, which honestly, we were a little bit like, this kind of sounds like more of an excuse than an excuse. But yeah, he was like late to work one day or couldn't come in at all or something like that because there'd been like a drive-by on his street at like 3 a.m. So like by 8 a.m. the next morning, he couldn't leave to drive, and it was, okay. It was like, I don't even think there was, I think there may have been a drive-by, but as if I recall correctly, there wasn't even actually like any injury or anything from it. So I'm like, they might be around, but I'm like, I don't think you were like hemmed into your house the entire day. It was like somewhere in your neighborhood this happened.
I'm just like, like the cops probably would have come and put down like a barricade if you'd been at risk.
Well, right, like exactly, and it was like, okay, yeah, we did hear there was a thing, but it was like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna like, sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's like there is a certain amount, but I would feel like even though, as we learn in a moment here, it's not in, like, it's down in the bowels in the office administrative part of it. It's not like it's in one of the displays. But yeah, I still feel like perhaps, especially given that this isn't just that he dropped dead of a heart attack at his desk.
Like that fully gruesome.
Fully gruesome, traumatic.
I think I'd be kind of sad if one of my coworkers had been like brutally murdered in the office next door to me.
Yeah, and they're saying like, oh, he was only on loan. He's only been here 2 months. You don't know much about him. It's fine. Okay, but
That's fucking Americans for you. Oh, he wasn't one of ours. He was just some British dude. We don't give a fuck. Oy vey. But yeah, exactly right. You would think that, if people not, like you say, like coworkers or even, visiting coworkers kind of a thing would just be like somebody, but yeah, you'd think just the whole building would kind of.
I don't want to go down to my office. Bad things happen down there.
Right.
And again, sure, okay, even if you keep open the rest of the museum, which is, I still think weird.
You'd think the police for a while there would have the whole thing shut down until they
just seeing a bunch of ambulances and cops go in and out the front door probably isn't great for business or just as a regular person seeing anyways.
Like they're about to remove the body, so they haven't even got that far, right? Like obviously some time has elapsed. They've been processing the scene and doing whatever, right? But like you say, I'm like, they haven't even actually removed the body yet. I'm thinking the entire thing would not, I mean, again, I know nothing about it and I am occasionally surprised how some of this works, where you would think the whole thing would be shut down and everybody got to, I mean, it's the same thing like we were talking about, like when you just drive away, right? How many times are we driving along and sirens come whipping past us and you're like, ooh, and you're like, again, that's how they always get away in the books and movies. Like, we're just going to slowly drive away from the crime scene. You just look like Joe Blow going home and not like I'm leaving that crime scene, right? So I was like, yeah, there's a certain amount, but you're right. I feel like there would be a lot more shut down here than
just the lack of compassion, too, is like, we have a business to run. And it's like,
well, that too, right? And like, again, in some of the really specific like movie things you can see, but again, I'm like literally just random Joe Blow.
Like, how important is your
right?
shit
Like
really?
Random Joe Blow security guard eating at the field. I'm feeling like he would be like this. Yeah, what does he care about the almighty corporate dollar? He's like, I fucking hate my boss. I'm a security guard.
I mean, like security, it's like, oh my gosh, the professors are not going to want to hear from me that I'm like, you're not the one who's telling them anyways. Like he does, he's like, well, you're going to have to be the one to tell them. The cop's like, great, not a problem. Someone was literally murdered here. I'll tell everyone. Like, I don't know, it just seems like such weird vibes. It's like,
right?
who's,
like, again,
I'm
right?
convinced the people who work here are evil. I'm like, what is the scam here right now?
They're like, everything in here is dead, okay?
The cop's just like, oh, new suspect. Oh, another one.
Literally, though, like, in a movie, like, it's supposed to be, yeah, this person's evil when they're like, who cares that the random, like, guy just died? Like, we've got a business to run. Like,
Yeah, the show must go on.
right? And you're supposed to be like, they're evil. But in this case, it's just a random Joe Blow. Like, oh my God, if the Field Museum closes today, we all are out of jobs.
Is this like a thing? Like, again, is this playing up on the, like, wannabe cop thingies where, like, security guards all think they're, like, way more important and way more powerful than they are or whatever, like, in their own heads or something?
I used to work as a security officer. I can
point
attest
me.
that I gave no shits. I was like, oh, well, that sucks.
But, you know, that is, like, a right off, and that's the thing, right? It's like, they couldn't make it as, like, a real cop or a real soldier, so now they're, you know, this or that or whatever. Or, again, right, I'm like, is this supposed to be, like, a state thing or something? You know, again, like, do Americans just take their security jobs that much more seriously? You know?
No, the Field Museum's not free, though. You do have to pay for tickets to get in. So I guess they would lose out on some
And if
profit
you had
there.
read this chapter, you would know that.
I know Harry does complain that he doesn't have enough money to go and pay his things. I get that. But, you know, Harry didn't know about upper and lower Wacker. So maybe he, like, gave them money as a donation and he wasn't actually buying tickets in the first place. Wacker, whatever.
Because Harry would have been like, it's by donation only. So I rolled it up so it looked like a wad of cash, but really it was just 1.5 folded like 17 times.
Piece of shit, Harry. It's like when he went to IHOP last time, he's like, I didn't have enough for the tip. It's like, you suck. You're so broke, dude.
Well, he didn't know Kincaid was actually going to order like the full meal. You know, like, figured he'd be polite and get like a cup of coffee and some hash browns.
Like, be fair to Kincaid. When somebody's offering to pay like a couple millions of dollars for your help, you think they can afford a $20 IHOP breakfast?
I could have if I didn't have to pay $20 million for my hired assassin, but no. Anyways, yes, yeah, it is kind of one of those, what? Shake your head sort of moments that, like, all right, okay.
So either way, Harry listens in on the conversation, and we find that
Discovers his time
a
was not
visiting
bad.
professor, Dr. Bartlesby, was killed, and that he had 2 assistants, and they were on site to examine the Cahokian artifacts on display.
I just like also the security guard here is like, the cop's like, okay, blah, blah, Mr. Bartlesby, Dr. Bartlesby. Like, again, you're a security guard. You're not like his fucking assistant. Like totally. The security guard's way too into it.
Right? He's just like, well, he starts off saying, you know, never think shit like this happens here. He's like, never would have figured. So I'm like, maybe he's just, you know, really like, oh my God, like a real crime happened.
I know,
Like,
but,
really, this is my museum it went down in. I don't know.
I'm just saying, I was like, the security cares way too much.
Well, clearly that 2 months was enough to be upset enough that it's a doctor.
Apparently. I just feel the security guy is like number one most
What do you
suspicious
think
person.
this is? The Terrell? Okay. No, I'm sorry. We're at the Field Museum here. We have doctors. We can't just shut down for
One singular Sue.
Hey, well, you've got Sue to back you up, then maybe you'd be walking around like big man on campus too. I don't know.
So all this to say is that we learned that Dr. Bartlesby had 2 assistants, 2 grad students that were running around helping him, Alicia and
Sean, early, yeah, he finds out it's like I say, they're just taking the body. So, okay, shit's gone down, but as it takes a while to do all this, he's not completely right. The whole thing hasn't been. So Harry's like, all right, kind of good timing. So, yes, they've now got to go off and explain to the administrators that, oh my God, the police have to do their job and investigate this murder. So, okay, fine.
that they've already been doing for several hours at this point.
Yeah, yes, right, that they're not done yet and that they can't.
We're going to keep investigating this murder.
Investigating. So they walk away from the employees only door, and Harry immediately ducks into the employee only.
And,
So
like,
it's
let's
real
be
big,
fair.
but they don't have a locked door for the security guy or whatever. Okay, apparently anybody can go into the employees only door.
What time do you think it is now?
Oh God, I don't know. So he went running at like 8 or something because it was like dawn, and I'm sure they spent an hour or 2 running, and then he had a shower, and then he went to Wacker. It's got to be late
11 or
morning to early afternoon.
Like 10 or 11, right?
He did say the museum had just opened. So what
Right.
time's the museum open? Probably 10 or 11.
10 or 11 is what I'm thinking, right? I'm just saying, like, for the body to be discovered and for the cops to get on this and for the like, I don't know, it just seems like it wasn't, you know, you had a fucking museum filled with people at the start anyways.
No. Yeah, you'd think, like, why didn't they just keep it closed?
Right?
Yeah, so I was going to say that I could see being anyone, either you have just night staff, like not in a museum, where that person could have come across the body at any point in time. Or, like you say, definitely some staff would have come early to get set up. But yes, I see you saying that's less the point of not that there was people there to discover it, but that if it was closed when it happened, why did it not just stay closed? And I have to somewhat agree. Again, it seems very odd.
Just a lot of things. It's just like, if Harry showed up there right around the time when they're just opening up and they're just going through this, okay, so fine. You have staff who are in the building outside of hours, so they're already there early in the morning. So someone comes across the body and you call the cops and you bring all these people. And then you've got all the other professors and researchers and grad students and who are showing up because they are trying to come to work and you didn't call ahead and tell them not to come to work because people are being murdered on the campus. Fine. But then to still be like, yeah, but the patrons also got to come in.
The public, yeah,
you think
at least that they would.
I mean, obviously, they couldn't close the Field Museum because how would Harry get in then?
Okay, but it's not like Harry's averse to sneaking into places, so I get that makes it easier access for him, but it doesn't say...
So if you had to pay this time the other way, you could have just walked in for free.
Why weren't you closed? Apparently,
if anything else, the lady accepting the money at the front door will always be there.
So maybe this is why Buddy is so... Apparently, the Field Museum is 9 to 5, 7 days a week. So that's, they're like, we're not open from like 9 until 9. People don't get to come after work and go to the Field Museum. So I guess maybe this is it. He's like, no, we only have 8 hours of operation. We're a museum. We need to be open all 8 hours, okay? We need everybody that's willing to come through those doors. But yeah, it doesn't say anything about like winter or summer hours or anything. So I'm going to assume that year round. So yeah, probably got to be like 9 or 10, depending on how close to that just opened it is, whether literally or within. Oh my God. I sympathize with Harry. I don't know about then, but right now it's $41.32 for a ticket.
Oh.
So if it's going to cost you $40 to get in there, I can see why. This is not like your $10 to get in the...
Well,
what the fuck is at that Field Museum?
Sue.
Damn. Not by the end of the book.
Spoiler. You've watched Night at the Museum, right? That's in New York, isn't it?
It's New York.
Suckers.
Fucking...
Same
museum,
thing.
Natural history or something like that.
Right. Well, I'm sure it's a lot of the same stuff.
Basically the same.
You can get an all-inclusive pass for $200 and some. So this is, again, right, gets down there.
All-inclusive. You get to show up even when we've been murdered.
That explains it. No blackouts at all for anything. If you get the super deluxe VIP pass,
you get murdered.
I was going to say you get to watch this process, though. We don't even close the crime scene off, okay?
Harry, shell out for that one. You need it.
Just no flash photography.
oh gosh.
So Harry's like, I gotta get down there before forensics shows up there. This is the only window I've
Yeah,
got.
he's like, okay, gotta get...
And at least Harry understands the crime processing.
A little bit.
When he knows, okay? Like, obviously, he's not as stupid as a security
these guys are off dealing with that. Hopefully there's not a ton of people. Right, exactly, right. Like, I'm kind of in an in-between stage here.
They could be processing for days. So this is literally the only window you've got whatsoever. It's not the... Well, how fucking dare they close down the museum for days?
Okay, but this is his... And I get... I'm all for the, like, most natural, simplest thing, right, is going to go unnoticed, right? But again, 6'8", black leather duster.
And doesn't have his delivery hat.
Not it. He picks up a bagel and a notebook and is like, all right.
I try to look like a bored academic. Are you kidding me? You look like the hitman returning to the scene of the crime.
Like, this is like even a step above like Indiana Jones kind of adventurer academic. You are like, right, what, with this big, long, black leather coat. And God knows whatever. I mean, again, he hasn't made a big deal about his wardrobe, so we're going to assume he's maybe just in something relatively...
You break into our Field Museum, you eat our croissants.
It was a bagel, damn it.
It's just so funny to think, like, I know it's part of his disguise, but he didn't bring a bagel. He stole someone's lunch to do this.
So this bears the question, what kind of place is in that? I mean, at $40 a pop, maybe they actually provide some sort of
Oh, yeah. Corporations that make a lot of money are giving.
Occasionally, I will agree. Usually, not so much. I have, and this is like here in our little itty-bitty tinky town, where I worked for the odd place where they do actually provide a certain amount of, probably not like bagels per se, but I have seen some of like the like, you know, individually
Rice Krispie treat.
Yeah,
only.
exactly, right? Like sort of pastry treat things. Or there's one place I worked where it was literally part of my job daily or every couple of days. They would get a fresh fruit delivery of like apples and bananas, and I had to go and like distribute them around to like the 3 or 4 different break rooms. I was like, holy fuck. It was kind of crazy.
Nice.
Yeah, it was actually. It was. So some places actually do.
Maybe he got a complimentary bagel.
But more likely,
he stole it from someone.
More likely he stole it from somebody. It's like one of those e-card joke things, right? Where it's like, I don't get this new trend of people putting names on their food or whatever, but he's like, I just had a tuna sandwich named Kevin. It's like, yeah. So in his his super fantastic nobody's gonna notice me
His
disguise, you might as well have stuck on like a fake mustache there, Harry.
I just want to know, like,
did you cut holes in that newspaper?
at what point of the wizard PI upgrading did you decide the costumes just weren't gonna be it anymore?
Well, he just didn't know. I mean, fair. I think he still does use costumes in the future. It's just when he knows beforehand he's going in. He just didn't know this was going to have to be his.
Such a dork.
If I'd known, I was going to be like sneaking around the offices.
It's like, when I think of Harry Dresden, I don't think of costumer, right? And yet he has done it so many times. That's such a loser.
Should compile a list of that sometime, janitor Harry, FTD Harry, bored academic Harry.
We'll come out with a list of dolls, like a listing of dolls that people can get. It's
gonna be a paper doll thing.
Oh, that would be so cool. Just very methodical. I like everything's a left turn. I was like, I guess you got to figure out one way to go. But I like how he does say that it's like fucking like an insane amount of tunnels and hallways. And I'm like, I guess I could totally see it. Because it's made that big, you probably would have a whole. It's like in some ways, I'm like, you'd think it would be fairly simple, like a few, like not necessarily a small place, but just like a few, laid out hallways with. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I guess I can also seeing it just being like a total fucking maze.
I do like the keeping your hand on the left wall, because that is how you get out of a labyrinth. So at least you know that, Harry.
Unless it's the labyrinth.
Even then.
No, because it keeps changing.
Oh, then you're fucked.
Well, exactly. That's the point of it. Then you get eaten by a minotaur.
Wait a second.
Did you read the Percy Jackson books or not? Okay.
No. I thought that was just Percy Jackson. I didn't know that was like the real thing. I just thought Daedalus made it so good. Not that it changed on him. I just thought that was a Percy Jackson thing where it was like sentient. I thought in the original tale it was not sentient.
No, I'm pretty sure that was part of the whole. I don't know. Anyways, regardless.
So he finds the room.
No, wait, look, police tape. Guess I'm in the right spot. This part they've closed off.
Yeah. Does a bit of a visual inspection.
Yeah.
Finds that the whole area is covered in a fuck ton of blood and dark magic.
Gross.
Okay, but again, this is how good his costume is. Because he just hovers it right. It's taped off at the end of the corridor. So presumably leading into this, however far down it goes, right? So comes across, sees the guys talking about, and he just like hovers there, eating a bagel and like writing in his notebook just in the middle of a hallway where nobody else is apparently. Nothing going on. It's an empty hallway, and you just happen to stop right where the police tape is, and just gee, where did my office go? Subtle, just you're blending right in.
There's always going to be rubberneckers, though.
Yes, but it's strange that he doesn't walk in, because Harry would always normally walk in. And maybe it's the difference between having Murph being like, come in, Harry, or not. But it still seems a little bit, why did you just stop here to stare?
Well, yeah, I do get that a little bit, that, yeah, like he kind of is like, pauses for a moment, here's they're about to leave, so okay, yeah, sure, I'll just stay back until they go. That part I'm kind of, not that he just doesn't, but again, just that it feels to me that, like, exactly, he would be just kind of sticking out like a sore thumb, like, even if he's like hovering around the corner where they could be, yeah, it just seems very random. Right?
And he knows he doesn't really have that much time because
again, it just
Rawlins is on the way.
Your disguise is for the cops and the cops only, because obviously everyone who works here is like, who the fuck are you? Like,
well, that too, right there. I mean, again, I'm just
that's my bagel.
I'm Dr. Bartlesby replacement. They just, I just,
yeah, I killed him an hour ago so I could have his job.
Just kidding. That was a joke. Don't tell the police I said that, okay?
Oh,
jokesies.
We're dark today.
Only today? I feel like this is norm.
He inspects the room and figures the victim has gone down quickly or is maybe held down while he died. And he also notices that there's a print of a woman's athletic shoe. Or
at least I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Children should not have to see this. Fair point. Yeah, so I like that again. He's coming a ways in his education experience. He's been reading the forensic journals. I don't know. Because, yeah, he can recognize the blood spray kind of thing. He's like, well, if it was his throat, there definitely would have been some spray on the ceiling, and there isn't. So, but anything else, because, yeah, he's like, either they would have had to bleed out fast enough, or they would have had time to, like, crawl to the desk. And they didn't crawl to the desk. So I'm going to assume that, yeah, they're like, oh, man, just... I hope they bled out pretty fast anyways, because, yeah, if you're going to be held down and slaughtered, I hope it doesn't go on too long. Yeah, he doesn't, again, the body itself has been removed, so he can't see anything there. He just basically gets to see that, yeah, literally everything but the ceiling, the walls, the desks, the mugs, the floor, the chairs. There's a lot of fucking blood happening. I'm like, what did you do? Slice open his femoral artery and then spin him around like an helicopter game or something? What the fuck is this? Like, it's everywhere.
See, it's a little reminiscent of the airport. Or it's just blood on everything. Like,
yeah, like a lot of blood. And again, right, in this exact moment, we still don't know anything more about this death. Just slicing someone open and having them bleed out, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a lot of blood everywhere. Like, are we sure there's only one guy? Like, what? You know, like, yeah. It seemed...
What was I reading that the lack of blood was suspicious?
Probably lots of things.
It wasn't this?
But again, I've been reading like a lot of crime novel lately, so it's like funny because in the other series, the one character, like that was his idea of fun was to like sit down and read like the latest blood splatter analysis, so you know, be up to date on it.
Interesting.
Like these things exist. Well, he was like an ex-cop turned private investigator, so you know, it was relevant, but.
So one of the other things that Dresden notices is the magic that was used is different from Wacker, that it felt corrupted and mutilated, and that Harry also sensed a feeling of glee with the magic, like whoever did it was really happy to do it.
They're creepy.
Let's get going. It's going to be so much fun.
The work was sloppier and more frenetic than the others, and he also figures that the magic user who did do it was also as powerful as Dresden is. As
yeah, a heavy hitter.
So now this is starting to give a timeline because Harry was at Mort's just a couple of hours ago, right? 3 a.m. We're saying, again, we don't know, but let's say 5 to 7 hours ago, Harry's at Mort's, right? And so, presumably, we already know, okay, one of them had to have happened in the last several hours, the Field Museum, right? We know this happened with this morning, okay?
Yeah, it was
well, it must have happened before 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay? And when he was at Butter's place, obviously we know that happened, you know.
At that time.
You know, whenever that was, midnight or who knows when. We don't know anything about Wacker. We don't know what the fuck happened there, but presumably every single one of these things, like, for all we know, like, if Harry were to go back to Mort, like, maybe there's way more on the map now, like, 6 hours later. That's another thing, is like, just assuming there's 6. No, there was 6 at 3 a.m., but apparently there's so much shit happening around the city. You should go back to Mort and be like, update my GPS, please. Like,
well, and that's the other thing too, right? That, like, again, probably between, because we know that, wasn't it like midnight or something when he went to meet Marver? Do we know specifically when?
The first time we get a time is 7 p.m.
Damn.
They met at 7 p.m.
God for winter hours, hey? Whew. Or winter darkness, you know.
Meet me at 7 p.m. tonight at your own grave.
There you go. All right. Guess, yeah, some of it could have happened a little bit earlier, you know, as soon as the sun went down or whatever. It didn't all have to happen within that, say, 3-ish hour period. We don't know when bodies started dropping. We just know that all of these bodies had dropped by then. So 7 to 3, you had like a full, 8 hours for shit to start going down. So, okay, they didn't all have to be super fast. Otherwise, I was like, everybody just went out and killed somebody within the same 3 hour period. Yeah. We're in town. Let's get this party started. But anyways.
13 minutes to midnight, guys. Let's do this.
Right.
Rawlins enters the room and identifies Harry as Murphy's SI wizard. And Harry lets on that the killing is not just a knifing and might just be something more. And Rawlins gives Harry an opportunity to explain himself to allow him to not be arrested by him.
Yeah, I thought that was you.
So Rawlins is fantastic, yeah. He's great out of nowhere. He's like, I'm pretty sure I recognized you from the SI guys. And blah, blah, blah. Come to find out that when Rawlins first got on the scene as a cop, he got attacked by something he can't explain. And Murphy's dad showed up and killed it with some rock salt, who knows what, burning the corpse in the sunlight.
Thank you, Dean and Sam.
Yeah.
Very supernatural vibes.
Very
with the rock
supernatural.
Salt.
Yeah,
rock salt shotgun thing.
Kitchen ingredients, take down whatever. And ever since then, Rawlins known there's been a little bit of shit.
There's something going on. Something's attacking a girl. I unload my gun into it. It then picks me up and starts banging me against a wall. That did not seem like normal. I'm thinking there's something more to this.
And something from it was just so good. Like, he's got so much respect for and gratitude for Murphy's dad that it's extended to now Murphy, which is extended now to Harry. He's like, whatever's out there, if you guys are stopping it, I'm behind you, which is crazy.
It just makes you want to slap the 2 cops that gave up the scene to go out for their smoke break or whatever, right? You just want to slap them up. So already you're like, oh, you guys are pissing that dumb little, which is good because Harry needs an in. So by all means, abandon your post. However, they're all, Rawlins, where are you? And he's like, oh, I gotta tell the guy what's going on. They're like, he's doing this on purpose. Like, whatever, we can leave. Like, you know? You're like, fuck you. You just were dissing Rawlins. Fuck you, man. Rawlins is solid. Punk ass. You go have your smoke.
And
I hope
especially
you get caught and busted.
Apparently, Rawlins did work his way down here fairly quickly because he caught Harry in the act. Apparently, he wasn't dawdling, or Harry really just zoned out for a while, but...
Well, I mean, yeah, he did. Yeah, he didn't specify. He's like, I mean, give me a few minutes, and they're like, whatever, we can go for like the 2 minutes it takes him to walk his ass. Apparently, it didn't take him much more than 2 minutes, because you're right, Harry is, you know, yeah, sounds like he could be being a while, but obviously must have been just about done wrapping up the, listen, we're not done yet. Go fuck yourself, okay? All right. Yeah, he's like, I figured out there's some shit that maybe goes on, and obviously Jack did something about it, and now Murphy, whether she knows it or not, is doing something about it. And again, he's like, I can tell that things are better with her. Because again, he's an older cop, so we know he's been
a detective twice, and then gone down twice for authority issues.
Right, yeah, that's the other thing. What do you know about it? You're a beat cop. Yeah. Oh, that was it, because he's like, what are you poking around for? And he's like, seems to me you were asking a lot of questions. He's like, But yeah, he has noticed that Murphy being in charge of SI has made a difference from other people that have held the post.
That was the thing earlier, is that Harry says at some point, he's like, I saw 2 cops I didn't recognize. And I was like, no shit, you know detectives, not cops. Like, it's not weird that you don't recognize every fucking cop in Chicago. There's probably hundreds and hundreds of them. Yes. Which is very funny that it was like, I didn't recognize these 2. It's like, would you? Really? Would you?
Maybe
different districts.
Different district, precincts, anything, and you know detectives, not cops.
Maybe that was supposed, well, except there's still lots.
I get arrested by beat cops all the time.
He rubs elbows with the detectives, but there's always just the cops on every scene too, right?
Right,
but maybe that was supposed to be like a nod or an indication that he's like, it hasn't been given to SI yet or something, because again, he keeps making a point of how SI is sort of their own department and blah, blah, blah. And well, yeah, you might have, again, whoever initially answers the call might be some random.
And that's fair, yes. It has not been officially assigned to SI.
But maybe it's more just like, yeah, I didn't recognize him, so it's nobody from the guys.
Murphy specifically told us not to let any ritualistic killings happen while she was in Hawaii, so you guys are going to need to figure this one out.
Not gonna... Yeah, it's like, what do you mean you're from Canada? Don't you know Office George? Like, yeah, I didn't recognize these cops in this city of like 8 million people. Weird.
I would like that. Murphy comes back from all of this and she's going over the notes of everything she missed or whatever like that. And it's like, yeah, and Harry went up and showed up to that one crime scene and she's like, excuse me? And like, yeah, Harry went and helped with like the Field Museum murder. And she's like, the what? What happened?
What I miss? What did I miss? So... Look, just see it.
Thank you.
Do a show number about
Thomas Jefferson.
You're welcome. So, all right, kudos. Already, you're like 5 minutes. I like this guy. Way to set it up. Knock it out of the park. Thanks, Butcher. We know this is one of the guys we're gonna like.
Well, it's about time that, you know, he's got at least a little bit of a break with some of the
well,
cops.
that too. Because he's like,
he's had such shit luck with them, like.
Right? And I just, even the banter that Rawlins has going with him, right? Like, even that is just nice. He's like, I didn't touch anything. He's like, yeah, I can tell on how I haven't arrested you yet. Fair enough. So, yeah, I'm going to let you tell me why you're here before I decide if I'm going to. So, yeah, he's like, all right, but I still want to get arrested, so don't dick around. Gives him a heads up with the assistants. He's like, hands him the thing. And was like, here you go. Visual identification of who else you're looking for. Well, thank you for fucking once. Yeah.
And then the final thing is that he asks, you know, he's trying to get some more information. He's like, all right, tell me, like, what's up with the Forensic Institute? And Rollins like, what do you mean? He's like, shouldn't there be a crime scene, a Forensic Institute? He's like, haven't heard anything. And Harry's like, are you sure? And he's like, haven't heard anything. And Harry's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, well, thankfully he doesn't tip it quite that
No,
far. But yeah, basically he's like, oh yeah, did you hear anything? And he's like, nope, you sure? Yeah. So Harry's
that's
like,
gotta be for Rollins. That's gonna be the most suspicious shit in the world, right? Like on the other side.
Well, that's it. Like he says, because he looks at the assistants and he's like, "Oh, are they suspects?" And Rollins is like, "Well, people don't get murdered by strangers very often, and especially since this guy is not local and literally knows no other soul here. So yeah, we're kind of thinking maybe the 2 people he's been traveling with might be people of interest in this, you know, right?" And then Harry's like, "So about that Forensic Institute? Never mind. Just wondering. It's a cop thing. I assume you all like to talk about the morgue. Okay, gotta go, right?" Like, smooth. But I mean, you kind of got to give him credit that you're like, oh, good point. Like, hey, wait a minute, he's gonna know. But yeah, exactly. And it's great that you sort of tested for the information. As it turns out, since they don't know anything, then yeah, you suddenly look weird. You're fucking like, All right. Sure, every cop has. No. Anyway, so then he's like, so what are you going to do about it, right? So it's like, yeah, Rawlins is like, Murphy may be in Hawaii, but we're going to give you a little cop buddy help anyway.
It's
really, just need it.
really reminiscent of a couple of chapters ago when Butters is like, well, who's supposed to stop them? And Harry's like, I am. And Rollins is like, can you stop them? And Harry's like, hope so.
That's fingers crossed.
But just a little bit more of what we've been saying for the last few chapters is that he's starting to take on this role of protector of the city without, it hadn't been a fully conscious thing.
There isn't anybody else to I guess that's
vacuum filling the void,
right? That, like, oh, I was dumb enough and brought donuts to like the first 2 meetings. Now everybody expects now I'm the donut girl.
I have the knowledge, I have the responsibility.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Harry's now the donut boy of Chicago. Does whatever donut boy can.
Great power comes great responsibility.
Oh, you were going back to that part of it. Well, I said donut boy. He started saying
Spider-Man can't afford donuts, and neither can Harry.
Spider-Man would totally be the donut man too if he could be.
He'd fish them out of the air with his wank. I brought donuts, and Susan, who actually bought donuts, would be like, bitch!
Right? Yeah, Spider-Man totally can. While he's just zipping by overhead, somebody walks out with a dozen donuts, he just saps it up as he goes. Right? Good hunting, kid.
That's why Jones, Jameson, John, whatever the fuck, hates him.
This concludes our episode 13.12, Good Hunting. Thank you for listening. You can find us online at freeflowrambling.com and McAnallys.ca. There we have links to our other podcasts, social media, and other fun tidbits. Please subscribe if you like what you're hearing, and please consider supporting us through Patreon to keep the magic alive and to see more content. We are Free Flow Rambling. Conjure by it at your own risk.